Supporters, well, as you can imagine, the fallout has begun. The Indiana Fever are literally taking what looks like the most valuable women's athlete asset that has come around in I don't know how many years. Certainly for women's basketball, they are taking this asset, an asset that I contend is worth more than every player in the WNBA combined.
The WNBA just pulled off the greatest disappearing act since Houdini. The moment Caitlin Clark hit the bench, the league's entire vibe evaporated. Interest, poof. Ticket buzz, gone. Ratings, flatlined. It's like someone hit the emergency shutoff switch the second Clark wasn't there. Welcome to the messy aftermath of putting all your marketing eggs in one superstar's basket, only for that superstar to get benched. We're diving into the chaos, the collapse, and the uncomfortable truth. When Caitlin Clark isn't playing, the WNBA doesn't just stumble, it nosedives. Grab your popcorn and prepare for a spectacle uglier than a breakup via group chat.
News that Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury. Now, if you guys have been watching the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark play over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark. She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games, and even just last game, she only had 6 points. But it wasn't only her performance on the court that was worrying fans, it was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she normally does. And even in her pregame routine, she was doing some things differently.
Just like that, the WNBA went from must-watch to barely a whisper. One minor injury to Caitlin Clark, and suddenly the league sounded emptier than a pre-show soundcheck in an abandoned arena. The instant news broke that she might miss some games, you could practically hear the merch booths packing up and PR teams scrambling for a plan B. Newsflash, there isn't one. Not even a glimmer. Because without Clark lighting up the court, the spotlight dims, and let's be honest, no one else is currently bright enough to fill it.
The WNBA don't think like we think. The WNBA ain't forced to run a business because it's subsidized. The WNBA don't have to do what most regular people have to do in order to be successful. The WNBA is trying to piss us off on purpose. Guys, the WNBA wants to go back to obscurity. The WNBA is trying their best to make sure nothing changes what this league represents.
Caitlin Clark didn't just attract fans, she summoned a movement. Like some kind of hardwood enchantress, she made arenas hum and ticket lines wrap around blocks. When she's out there, turnstiles spin like slot machines. Seats vanish by halftime, and traffic jams become a pre-game ritual. But the second she's out, crickets. The buzz dies faster than a dead phone. The stands thin out, and ushers go from crowd control to casually tackling crossword puzzles.
Start with the most important question of the day. Glad y'all are here for this one. Are you worried about Caitlin Clark long term?
No, I am not. Every great athlete goes through this, particularly great athletes who are breaking barriers. And I think that Caitlin Clark is doing exactly that. And so I watched Steph Curry go through this. Okay, so it was ankle issues at the beginning of his career, raised some questions. He had to find a solution and fight his way through it. He wasn't getting beat up, but he was having physical issues.
And the fans? Oh, they noticed. Loudly. The drop-off was so glaringly obvious, it felt like a sponsored segment on a reality show. Social media instantly transformed into a forensic lab for viewership stats, with fans dissecting empty seats like they were crime scene evidence. When Caitlin's on the court, the vibe screams music festival. When she's not, it's giving community bingo night. Plenty of chairs, not much noise, and a whole lot of regret from folks who could have just stayed home and streamed a cooking show instead.
So now Caitlin Clark is banged up. She will not play again tonight. So the physicality, she's getting roughed up. The league has an off season. How do we defend her? Well, it's pretty obvious how people want to defend her. They're trapping, double teaming, getting very physical. And now she's banged up. So her first 6 games, she was Caitlin Clark. In her last 3 games, she's averaging 12 a game and shooting 27%. She is not healthy.
Let's talk about those ride or die fans, because the moment Clark took a break, the ride stalled, and a lot of them decided to die. Overnight, jerseys stopped flying off shelves. Streaming numbers tanked like someone yanked the Wi-Fi cord. The comment sections, once alive with heated debates, became ghost towns. You'd think people would rally behind the league in her absence, but nope. It's like someone unplugged the entertainment value, and suddenly the WNBA was asking people to care without the one person who made them care in the first place. Even more savage, the real-time reactions. One fan, probably still rocking their Caitlyn hoodie, recorded the arena mid-game when she wasn't playing. The background noise? Dead silence, like a library during finals week. The camera panned across whole sections emptier than the league's marketing strategy without her. People weren't just disappointed, they were insulted, like showing up to see Beyoncé and getting the warm-up DJ instead. The WNBA had one job: protect the asset. Instead, they ran her into the ground like she was on a sprint and destroy mission. Constant back-to-backs, excessive minutes, a target on her back every single game, and then they acted shocked when she got dinged up. That's like chucking your only iPhone into a volcano and being surprised when you can't FaceTime anymore.
But it's a tough blow not only to Caitlyn because we know that she loves to be on the court. It's a tough blow for the Indiana Fever because that is their superstar. Whether she is playing to the best of her abilities or not, they are still a better team with her on the court. And it's also a huge blow to the WNBA. Whether some fans like it or not, it was proven the last time that she was out with injury that the WNBA does better when she is on the court. The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlyn Clark was out with injury, and this is obviously such a crucial time and a crucial year for the league because they go into CBA negotiations at the end of the year.
And the irony? While she sits out, some voices are still trying to pretend this isn't a 5-alarm fire. They're muttering about team balance and development, as if balance fills seats. As if development is a more exciting product than the only player whose name even casual fans know. Meanwhile, everyone else is scrolling through their schedule apps and canceling plans. It's not even subtle. The numbers are screaming. You'd think Caitlyn Clark was doing a solo tour, given how ticket sales plummet without her. 1 minute, it's sold out, packed wall to wall with Clark fans screaming their lungs out. The next minute, with her sidelined, you can hear individual coughs echo through the rafters. And then there's the merchandise game. It's been hilarious to watch. With Clark, vendors are moving product like it's Black Friday. Without her, those booths might as well convert into lemonade stands. The Caitlyn Clark economy is real, and the moment she sat down, a whole ecosystem caught a cold. But what truly hits hardest is how visible her absence is. Because Caitlyn doesn't just play, she stirs chaos. She drops threes that ignite online debates. She drives the lane like she's got a vendetta against physics. She turns average games into headline material. The league without her becomes background noise in a sports landscape already oversaturated with flashier, faster, and frankly, more competitive options.
And I can't believe I'm coming to this conclusion. Guys, it is clear the WNBA operation itself doesn't know what it's doing. And now it's clear that the Indiana Fever does not know what it's doing. But here's the sad part, guys. This ain't on accident. This is on purpose.
And yet, some delusional defenders keep pretending this is just a minor blip, and that fans should be excited anyway. About what exactly? Watching teams fumble fundamentals in front of a politely bored audience? Trying to rally around players whose biggest accomplishment is retweeting memes about Caitlyn Clark? It's not just a downgrade, it's like switching from gourmet dining to stale vending machine snacks and being told it's the same experience. What's even more absurd is the league's frantic attempt to spin the fallout. Suddenly, everyone's pushing narratives about the bigger picture and team identity. Sure, and the Titanic was just a cruise with a surprise ending. People didn't tune in for identity building. They tuned in because Caitlyn Clark was redefining what watchable women's basketball looked like. They wanted fireworks, not flickering candles. And when the fireworks are gone, no one's pretending the candles are good enough. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark's absence has accidentally revealed just how lopsided the league's appeal really is. It's not parity, it's dependency. She was the rising tide, and without her, it turns out a lot of those ships weren't actually floating. They were just lucky to be in the splash zone.
Every great athlete you can think of coming in, if there were great expectations, there were hurdles that they had to overcome. And so I agree. I think she's had a lot on her plate. This is not Iowa. This is not Kansas anymore, Toto. This is the WNBA. This is the world, and she's got a lot on her shoulders. But I've seen every player, great player, who's had to adjust to that and accommodate it. And I have no doubt that she will do that, whether it's physical or mental.
And now, with her sidelined, the water's gone, and everything looks smaller, quieter, less urgent, like a concert after the headliner leaves and the backup guitarist's cousin takes over. And then there's the funniest part of all, the way other players are handling it. Instead of rallying, some seem oddly relieved, as if the spotlight might finally shift. Bad news, it didn't. The spotlight just turned off. No one's rushing to buy courtside seats for a gritty team effort or a scrappy defensive battle. Fans want the unicorn. And when she's not there, it turns out the magic show is just a bunch of assistants pulling scarves out of sleeves. Even worse, the broadcasters are struggling to pretend it's business as usual. With Caitlin on the court, commentary is electric. Every movement is a story. Without her, it's 2 hours of trying to sound impressed by layups. The energy drops so hard, even the microphone seems sad. And let's not forget the conspiracy theorists. Oh, they're having a field day. Some swear the league secretly wanted her out for a while, that her shadow was too long and her popularity too inconvenient. But here's the twist. Even if that were true, this break only proved how desperately they need her. You can't build a house, then remove the foundation, and expect it to stand.
Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
Back to back, a factor at all with that?
I mean, I don't know if it's a factor from a physical standpoint, from an athletic training standpoint. Certainly in my mind, it is. But at the same time, C's shown that she's tough and she's a quick healer. So we'll see.
Was it something she?
So now, everyone's waiting for a comeback, waiting for the next highlight, waiting for Caitlin Clark to stop icing her injury and start icing defenders again. Because love her or hate her, she's the draw. She's the main event. She's the one gluing eyeballs to screens and cheeks to arena seats. Without her, the WNBA isn't even trying to fake relevance. It's just hoping people don't change the channel before halftime. Because the reality is harsh and loud, Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the WNBA. She is the WNBA right now. And when she sits, everything else crumbles. No bubble wrap, no special protection, not even a metaphorical helmet. Just endless minutes, bone-crunching fouls, and officials staring into space like someone unplugged their internal radar. She gets shoved, slammed, dragged across the court like it's an MMA undercard, and the refs, they barely blink. They sip their coffee. They might even whistle, but not for the foul, for halftime.
I'm keeping it real. All right, that's the draw, that's the aura, that's the brand. She is the WNBA. I've said, I contend she ought to be, her three-point shot should have already been changed. That should be the logo of the WNBA. Of course, the old school WNBA fans, all about this many of them that existed, that makes them furious. I don't care. Y'all can keep trying to gatekeep this league all you want. I don't care. They're trying to take this asset. Stephanie White seems to be completely in over her head. Once again, Jason Whitlock said it the other day, and I pointed right at my television screen, which is over to the right of me, when I was watching Whitlock, and he said, they need to hire an NBA coach like Mark Jackson.
Apparently, if you're a rookie dragging an entire billion-dollar PR campaign behind you, you also have to eat elbows like it's part of the training manual. And the worst part? It's not subtle anymore. It's not occasional or even situational. It's systematic. Almost as if there's an unspoken group memo floating around locker rooms that reads, if it's Caitlin, it's fair game. Other players are fouling her like they've got coupons for extra hits. They're sending her to the floor like it's a contest, like there's a prize for the most takedowns in a single game. And the WNBA, they shrug. One ankle tweak and fans start writing eulogies. Yet somehow, despite that glaring reality, the league refuses to do the most basic thing you do with your star, protect her. It's basic sports math. If your most valuable player gets battered into the hardwood every game and you do nothing, eventually you won't have a most valuable player.
Where she's a lot like Michael Jordan is the physicality of the league. And basketball has always been this way. If you can't figure out how to stop somebody, Steph Curry faced some of this. In basketball, the answer is always get physical with them. Make them uncomfortable. Rick Pitino was on yesterday and talked about Caitlin Clark.
She's a great passer. She reminds me of Steph Curry when Steph Curry came into the league. She's doing what Steph did early on. She has unbelievable range. She has great vision. She's a terrific passer. You know, she's physically a little weak, but she'll get stronger as time goes on. But she really understands how to play, and she reminds me of the female version of Steph Curry. Incredible range.
And once she's out, good luck explaining to fans why they just paid to watch a scrappy defensive matchup between two teams averaging 42 points a game. Spoiler, no one wants that. They want the fire, the flare, the flash. They want the Caitlin Clark experience. And every uncalled hit she takes is a direct hit to the league's wallet and credibility. But no, instead of tailoring the rules to protect the league's hottest asset, the WNBA is acting like she's just another name on the roster, like she's lucky to be here. As if she didn't just resurrect interest in a product that was drifting dangerously close to the forgotten sports aisle next to lacrosse and darts. And it's not just bad strategy, it's outright sabotage. Every time she steps on the court, the WNBA trends. Every time she scores, Twitter erupts. When she speaks, ESPN listens. And yet, the officials are swallowing their whistles like it's a competition. Because this isn't about favoritism, it's about reality. Every major league protects its stars. The NFL has quarterback rules so tight, you'd think they were guarding national secrets. The NBA gives its marquee players enough foul calls to fill a rulebook.
So the Indiana Fever is not slick at all. They have Caitlin Clark out with a growing injury, and they have her scheduled day by day, right? So either two things is happening. Either she really don't have a growing injury and they're trying to let her rest so she can play in the game against Paige Buckner's when they play the Wings tomorrow. And given that Caitlin Clark haven't had like her best game the last few games, they probably just like, okay, take the day off, girl, and come back ready to hoop.
But the WNBA, apparently, letting Caitlin get hip-checked into next week builds character. No, it builds resentment, it builds injuries, and it builds a fast track to fans checking out entirely. Fans see it. They're not dumb. They know when someone's being targeted. And let's not pretend this isn't fixable. One strong memo, one game where refs actually enforce rules, one suspension for an egregious foul, that's all it would take to reset the tone, to say loud and clear, our biggest star matters. But no, instead it's open season, and Caitlin Clark's the only one without body armor. She's expected to carry the league, absorb the hits, smile through the pain, and still drop 25 a night, all while being fouled like she owes someone money. It's not sustainable. Not physically, not emotionally, not commercially. Because here's the part the league keeps missing. Every bump she takes is one more reason for her to reconsider the grind. She doesn't have to be here. She could go overseas, play fewer games for more money. She could walk away tomorrow and still have brand deals, millions of fans, and a life without constantly checking if her ankles still work. And if that day comes, the WNBA will have no one to blame but itself. They had one job: protect the investment. Instead, they treated her like an expendable storyline, like she's just lucky to get a jersey.
It is no secret that Caitlin Clark has been struggling in her shooting since coming back from injury. She had that big game right after the initial leg injury where they played the Liberty, they beat the Liberty. She had 30-something, Sabrina had 30-something. It was a fantastic game. But since then, she has been really struggling from the field. There's been reports of her maybe having her migraine issues again. There's been reports of her in interviews, she's been coughing a lot and kind of sniffling, was she sick? And now she is out for tonight's game because of a groin injury. And even in her post-game interview the other night, she said, it felt good coming out of my hands, and then it just wasn't going in. They feel good. They feel like typical Caitlin Clark shots.
And now, they're watching the consequences unfold in real time. Lower attendance, empty seats, and a rising number of fans openly saying they won't watch unless Caitlin is playing. Not because they hate the sport, but because they hate what's being done to the only reason they started watching in the first place. If the WNBA doesn't wake up soon, they're going to find themselves right back where they were. fighting for scraps of attention in a sea of bigger, louder, faster sports. Caitlin Clark gave them a miracle, a second chance at relevance. And what did they do? They let her get hammered by players who treat defense like demolition, all while pretending this is fine. It's not. It's a slow, painful collapse dressed up as competitive balance. And if they keep choosing chaos over care, the fans won't stick around for the ending. They'll walk, just like Caitlin might, leaving the WNBA holding a trophy made of broken narratives and missed opportunity.